Hello again, Old Super Dave with you. I want to talk to you today a little bit about mindset. First of all, let's ask a question here. There were basically 1.1 new millionaires created in the year 2009, and there was a drop. That was a rise of over 16% from 2008. And of course, 2008 was when all the financial troubles happened. We had all the bailouts and the car companies weren't selling anything. And yet there were still people who were able to reach the millionaire status during some of our most difficult financial years across the country. And some of those people were already close, if you will, and some of those people were self-made entrepreneurial millionaires. So today I want to talk to you about the millionaire mindset, if you will, and ask this question. Why aren't there more millionaires in the U.S. today? And I'll leave one answer that I want you to consider is the fact that not enough people are, one, doing the things necessary that help create these self-made millionaires, and two, the majority of us as a collective society are convinced that this type of thing just isn't possible. So I want to take you back to 2005, which is when I first found personal development. And I heard this quote relatively quickly once I got involved from Jim Rohn. And it very simply said, "Strive to be a millionaire, not for the money that you'll make, but for the person you have to become in order to get there." Now, to me, that made perfect sense, but I want to step back and look at it from the flip side for just a minute first. Why is it that people who win the lottery, multi-million dollars, soon find themselves 2-3 years down the line more broke and in debt than they were before they won the money? Well, the answer is really very simple. These people may have been given a large amount of money. Here, take $100 million. But that didn't make them millionaires. It made them people with $100 million. The difference is a self-made millionaire has a great idea. They then have to, basically the proper way to do it would be to reverse engineer the way back to where they are now, and then take the steps that take them closer and closer as they go to reach that ultimate goal that they see, as I put it in their mind movie screen, in the future. To get to that point from here to way up there requires them to adopt an entirely new way of thinking. New disciplines have to be put in place. They have to be driven, as most people aren't. They have to believe beyond the shadow of a doubt that although they don't have that dream yet, it is possible. And that the only thing stopping them is them not accomplishing each one of these steps. That is what separates them from the 295 million odd others of us in the country who don't see those possibilities as doable and are willing to apply the disciplines in their lives a little bit at a time until they become the disciplined and driven person they need to be in order to reach that goal that they've set for themselves. So let's flip back to the good side of that quote. Most of these people, the lottery winners, don't know how to handle the money because they don't have the mindset. They are just plopped down with money, and so they don't know how to handle it because they have not built into their belief systems all of the things that help them be disciplined and responsible for their money. So since 2005, when I first heard that quote, I started seeing myself as a millionaire in the future, be it through copywriting or any of the other things I was trying to do online as I tested out what I felt would work, and now to the point where I am now an author and have written that book that is for this self-help market. I believed that I was going to be a millionaire one day. And so on my mind movie screen, I saw myself being that person. And so I began to develop thoughts and ways of thinking that would suit me to get me to that point, and began to apply them in my life back then. And so what I want to tell you now is that for the last 3 years, at least since '07, I have been a millionaire, although I didn't have a dollar in the bank to prove it, other than my normal paycheck I got every week. But I began to develop the thinking that would be required to take those first steps. Once I discovered whatever it was I was going to choose to pursue that $1 million status. So it's not crazy to say that I was a millionaire in 2007 because I didn't have anything to show for it, but I was creating the beginnings of the feelings and beliefs that would help me become more disciplined, to help me see what needed to be done and reverse engineer my way back to the point that when I decided that I had a powerful message to share with the rest of the world, that this was the first step I needed to take, and I could see the next steps as they went. So by saying I was a millionaire back then didn't mean that I was going to go out and spend money that I didn't have. I don't want you to do the same thing. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you can see some idea, some vision of the future that makes you the person you want to be. A millionaire, own a new home, whatever it is, how large or small. The point is, if you were going to have it doing what you're doing now, you would have it. So obviously you must change what you're thinking and how you're thinking. So no matter how far off that is in the future, it could be 6 months, could be a year, could be 5 years. If you start changing now, you will begin to see what is necessary to get you there. Now this thinking without having is the basis of the wonderful personal development tenet, if you will, fake it till you make it. Think like you are before you are, so that you prepare your mind and your belief system gets input with all of these more positive, more disciplined thoughts that are then turned into truths within your mind, so that you will think differently and open up your mind to your possibilities and your capabilities to achieve each one of these little steps along the path. Reverse engineering your way back forward to get to where you need to be, to accomplish whatever that dream is. Why can't there be more millionaires in the country right now? Well, I have experienced it many times. I've talked about it in the pre-launch videos. Things like, well, you can't have your cake and eat it too, and the grass is always greener. All of those things that we talked about earlier in a pre-launch video under pre-programming is all about the fact that there are certain people who want us as a collective society to continue to believe that we are not capable of having and doing and being all of these things, because then we would become empowered and would not be convinced that, oh, this stuff doesn't work and, oh, I'll never be able to do that, while we sit at home complaining about all of the millionaires out there who have all the money, while we reach down and pick up the remote. We've been convinced that apathy is better, and we can't have $1 million, because most people, as soon as you mention $1 million, they're just completely overwhelmed because they see this image of $1 million, see it written down on a piece of paper or hear it. They're just, that stuff doesn't work. We have been completely overwhelmed with this stigma that we are not capable of such things. Well, clearly there are millions of people right now. There are 7.8 million millionaires in the U.S. today. And not all of them. That doesn't count inheritances. What needs to happen to us is what has happened to each one of these individual people, male or female. They have started some business or whatever because they refuse to accept the fact that, who are you to tell me what I can't do? I have a great idea and I am going to do what is necessary to get there because I want it so badly. And I'm not going to let you or some collective thought that's trying to influence everything about my life because I am strong enough to do this. And that begs the question, here we are, born and raised, heirs to the greatest American dream on the planet. We have people coming to this country to live out the dream because they know that here anyone is capable of becoming successful in whatever it is they want to do. But yet the homegrown folks have bought into this lie that that stuff just isn't possible. So we go and get mad at like for me, for instance, across the street from where I live is a Pakistani family who's been at that place, I found out, for 12 years. They came over, they saw what they needed to do, and they did it, and they have a successful little Quick Mart. They're always there every day, 7 days a week. I said, when do you take vacation? He says, I don't have time. Because he saw for himself and his family what was necessary to create his American dream. And yet we completely abandon it and will stand in line to argue with me in the past about how it's not possible. While we rail against all the people who are doing it and then complain that we never have money to do what we want. The mindset that helps us get from where we are as a workaday person to that status of that great dream that we have for ourselves is all up here. If we refuse to accept the fact that all of these things that have been pushed upon us are not really the truth and not the way things really are, then we can begin to do as I have done over the past 5 years. To accept that there is another way of thinking and pursue that with focus because I don't care what other people say. If you ever ask anybody to prove that none of these things work and that, only rich people are this and that, they can't. There's no proof. It's just a rumor that's been spread down through the generations. I've been told and read that Satan's greatest achievement was convincing the world that he didn't exist. And the reason I wrote my book, Life's Second Chance, and created this blog is so that I can help expose as many people as possible to the truth that there is another way to think than the one we have been convinced to believe is true, and that each and every one of us, no matter how poor we are or where we come from, has the same opportunity if we are willing to do what's necessary. And if we have a dream that means enough to us, then there's nothing going to get in the way once we believe it's possible. And that is everything about everything I'm about. So I wanted to leave you with this new way of thinking. Just consider this. In the future, we're going to tear this down. We're going to come at this from 1,000 different angles as we move forward. So I'll close this one down by reminding you that you have the power to do whatever it is that you want. And no idea is too big unless you try and fit a big idea into a small mind. And it won't fit. I feel it is my calling to teach you how to open your mind, remove the blinders that you wear that have been put on you, not at your fault, but by the efforts of others. And once you accept that there is another way to think, then you can change how you think, and suddenly ideas will come to you that you will then see as possible. And you're certainly capable of doing it. I know you are because I have done it myself. I have overcome that. I have reached for my dream and I'm going for it right now. I invite you to follow along with me as we pursue your dream as well. So this is old Super Dave signing off, and I'll be looking forward to talking to you again in the future. Have a great day. See you later.